However, our first guest is here, Craig Linauer. He's the Inland Marine Claims Manager at Travelers, and we're bringing him up now. Hey, Craig, thanks for joining us.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Man. Last time we had you on the show, we were talking about large cargo losses, and right before you came on, we talked about some happening on the railroad, tough times out there. But today we'll dive into your thoughts about refrigerated freight. Before we do, though, our audience would love to know a little about your background and your role over there at Travelers.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I continue to manage transportation claim and litigation countrywide for Inland Marine, and Inland Marine is a segment of Travelers that insures goods in transit and also the legal liability of our insureds. And we defend our insureds also when they get sued in court across the country. So I've been doing this for about 10 years now. Before that, I worked as a transportation attorney.
All right, great. So thanks for that. And again, welcome back to the show. So let's start off by talking about some of the misconceptions surrounding refrigerated freight, right? Can you set us straight on those misconceptions and what they are?
Yeah, so there's a couple of misunderstandings, right? And the first is really that people don't understand that, and I'll call it a reefer. That's what I'm referring to a refrigerated trailer. Mm-hmm. Is that a reefer doesn't really cool cargo. What it does is it maintains the temperature of the cargo that you put in it. And so the shipment really has to be pre-cooled or cooled when it's loaded. If you load a warm shipment, then that reefer is not going to cool it for you. So, of course, we're concerned about shipments that need to be temperature controlled, like ice cream, meat, flowers, produce, and that kind of thing. And this can be very, very tricky. So, for example, you think about the ubiquitous banana, right? Well, bananas, they have a sweet spot of only 4 degrees. So you can only transport them between 56 and 60 degrees. Any warmer than that, just 1 degree, and that banana is going to start to ripen. It will actually generate heat. That heat can reach up to 80 or 90 degrees. On the other hand, if it's colder if it's colder than 56 degrees, which is the bottom of that sweet spot, then they're going to chill, causing spotty peels and damage.
Wow, and it's such an interesting type of cargo too, because when you think about other type of cargo losses, you might think about theft or pilferage or those kind of things, but equipment itself can play a big role within this. Can you talk about the role that equipment plays?
Yeah, well, equipment's critical, but let me digress for a second, if I may. The other misconception that I wanted to mention too, aside from that, people think that the reefer is actually going to cool the cargo, but it doesn't, is that people also don't understand how critical proper loading is. And the loading is critical to ensuring the cargo arrives at the right temperature. Specifically, what we're talking about is there has to be the ability for the air to flow freely throughout the trailer. Mm-hmm. So you can't have cargo that touches the walls of the trailer or the ceiling. So what you have to imagine is that the air is cooled in the top front of the trailer, and then it flows along the top of the palletized cargo and along the sides. And then it returns underneath the pallets, and then the cycle starts again, right? So it's kind of like, the air conditioning system in your house. You have a return, and then the system cools the air, it pushes it out through your vent system. If you have airflow that's blocked in any way, you're going to have, trouble at home. You're also going to have trouble in the context of the refrigerated trailer. Your cargo is either going to be spoiled or it's going to be rejected as warm. So those are the two misconceptions. Thanks for letting me back up for a second. The other thing you asked about, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, go for it.
No, I was going to tell you. So you had asked me secondarily here what role equipment plays, and equipment's critical. Specifically the condition of the equipment. The trailer doors have to have a secure seal, obviously, so you can keep the cool air inside and the cold air doesn't escape. That's counterproductive, right? Additionally, reefer trailers, although they're very well insulated, insulation naturally degrades over time. So it's critical that you check on the condition of the insulation. You need to make sure that the interior of the trailer is clean and in good condition. There's not holes in the walls or the ceiling of the trailer that are going to let that cold air get out. And also, in the corner of these trailers, there are condensation drains, and those things can get blocked. And if they do, that's going to interfere with the cooling efficiency as well. So those have to be clear. And then the last thing I'll say about condition equipment is that, it's pretty much commonplace to put a temperature recording device to track the shipment temperature that shows what the temperature is at the back of the trailer, to ensure that it's similar to the temperature at the front of the trailer where that cooling by the reefer, unit actually happens. So this temperature recording device also has to be in really good condition.
all great details and educating a lot of people on reefer and what the details are there, why it is more expensive. It's a much more difficult thing to get into as a transportation company. But as a trucking company, when you're in this, how do they protect themselves against some of these issues?
Yeah, and that's important. So there's a couple things you can do to protect yourself, both at pickup and delivery. So at pickup, what should happen is your driver should verify that the product is at the right temperature before it's loaded into a pre-cooled trailer. So remember what I've said already, that the trailer really isn't designed to cool. It maintains temperature, right? So you have to make sure that the reefer can do its job by ensuring also that the airflow is not in any way blocked. It's properly loaded so the airflow can move throughout the trailer. Then at delivery, it's very important for your driver to be alert and to never accept responsibility for rejected cargo unless they absolutely understand the reason for the rejection. Be very, very careful about what you sign in terms of delivery documents, because if later there are alleged damages, it will make it very difficult to challenge liability. And then, of course, to protect yourself, I urge everyone out there to check out travelers.com for further information.
Wow. Well, hey, great information today from you, Craig. We really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on. Wow.
Excellent stuff, Craig.
Yeah, thank you.
Big stuff in reefer. Another misconception too is that people sometimes they just think that reefer is only used for like ice cream or for cold materials. When you put plenty of things in there, he mentioned the bananas with the slight temperature variance that you have to be mindful of.
Yeah.
As we talked about vaccines and the extreme temperature variances you had to be mindful of, as well as like things like Halloween candy. Even candy's moved in reefers.
Sure. Yeah. It's really more of environmentally controlled container or trailer, right? Than a reefer or refrigerated or freezing, what have you.